Have you ever wondered which businesses and industries are out there desperately seeking your genius and support? Welcome to the Op Shop Show's latest series, which I am calling The Client Files. And we are going to be interviewing business owners in all different types of industries who hire people exactly like you. We're going to learn a little bit more about what options are available to you, what types of clients you might not have even heard about, and then we're going to get a behind the scenes look into what does their actual business do day to day. So you can start matching up your skill set. And then we're going to ask that very important question. When you hire a virtual assistant, what are you looking for? So keep an eye out on the Op Shop Show as we release this new series. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe so you always find out when the next one is coming. Let's dive in to the client files. And here we are on the Ops Shop Show with Client Case Files, and today my guest is Mark Black. Welcome, Mark.
Thank you, Nikki. Glad to be here.
So this is a fun story because I'm an East Coaster just like Mark, and before I pushed the record button, we were telling stories of New Brunswick. And Mark, I'm really excited to speak with you today and kind of give the great audience here insight into your business. So tell me a little bit about, when you introduce yourself at a barbecue, what do you say?
Great. That's a great question. That's a great way to frame that question. I say I am a speaker, coach, and author. That typically is followed by what does that mean? And primarily, I'm what would be called a keynote speaker. So basically, I'm hired by companies, a lot of associations to come and their annual conference, annual event, whatever it is. I'm the opener or the closer. I come in, I do my hour and a bit. They write me a check. I go back home, go on to the next client. And then I do some coaching with other speakers. But the primary part of my business is travel, do a speech, go back home.
Okay, I love this as an example for this series because oftentimes we have been to those events where there has been a speaker like you, and all we get to see is the dude up on stage saying, like, telling us these great inspirational stories or making us think, oh God, okay, I have to go do that. That's really cool. But what we don't see is the work behind that, the systems behind it, the moving pieces behind that. So when you look at your business and that act of being a speaker, what are some of the activities that just occur in the day-to-day of this is the behind the scenes, behind the curtain glamour of being a keynote speaker?
Yeah, very unglamorous. And it's so good to talk about that because one of the things that I get to immediately with new speakers who are coming to me saying, how do I do this, is to be really clear that what you see on stage is less than 5%, I'm going to say, of what the business actually is. Like if I had to break down the hours. So the day is blog posts and creating video content and posting on social media. And then it's outbound marketing to potential clients, sending emails, making phone calls. Selling the speech is the biggest part of the job. And so we're spending a lot of time researching, like, where are these clients? Where are these conferences? Who are the people that we need to talk to? What kinds of things do they need to know about me? What kind of materials do we need to prepare for them so that they can make a decision? All of that stuff is where the other 95% of the business happens.
For sure. So it sounds like there's, when we think about where the energy in the business goes to, I like how you put it. It's like 90% of it is just to get you onto a stage, to sell the results and the fun. So it's a lot of follow up, follow through, collaboration, being focused on details, and really having an understanding of what are the steps that kind of take someone from going, who dis, to, hi, we're sending a plane for you. Please, like, come talk to our people. So in all of that, has there been, a type of activity? Because I do know you have help within your business. You have support within the business. So when you were kind of thinking, I would like to bring someone in, how did you figure out what you even wanted them to do? Like who, the what, the how? What am I going to do to bring someone in? How did that thought process go?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I've had probably 5 people in and out over the course of 10 years. two of whom were amazing. The first one and now the current one. The other three not so much. And it wasn't their fault because what I figured out in the ones that didn't go well, and I don't think I'm alone in this, is that as a solo entrepreneur, you're used to wearing all the hats, doing everything, and therefore everything is here.
Hmm.
And unless your brain happened to work that way, or you had a business degree or something, which I did not have, then the idea of like a I didn't know what SOP stood for until
Hmm.
last year, right?
Hmm.
So how do I do this thing? I just do it. Like, but I was running my business off of my email inbox and an Excel spreadsheet for years. And then
Hmm.
had Jen, my amazing VA, who came into my business, and she said, "Well, so what do you need help with?" And I was like, "Well, it's a long list. Here are the things I know that I should be doing that I'm not doing. Number one being there is no defined process of exactly what you said. What happens from I've never heard of this person before to we want to bring them to this event? What steps need to happen? That has never been documented. I kind of have an idea, but it's
Hmm.
never been documented. Um, the outreach is not systematized. So basically, what would happen is I would notice, oh crap, my calendar looks pretty blank for the next 3 months. I guess I better start marketing. And I would market and market and
Hmm.
market and sell and sell and sell and fill some dates. But then while I'm off fulfilling what I've sold, I'm not marketing anymore. And so it's this like
Mm.
vicious up and down cycle of
Yes.
busy and not busy and busy and not busy. And I went, oh, wait a minute. Like if we had a consistent system here, and I learned from other people as well, obviously, we could just be filling the pipeline all the time and have
Ooh.
people at various stages all the time. That would
Yeah.
be really cool. Uh,
Mhm.
and so, yeah. And so thankfully Jen came in and, one of the things that I think if you have the skill set is understand that, and I won't curse every other fellow entrepreneur with my weaknesses, but I know it's pretty common that A, we don't see the forest for the trees because we've been living in that world and we just kind of know now, but we also don't know what we don't know. And B, we don't always think in terms of processes and systems because, at least for me, I'm really good at being creative. I'm really good at coming up with new ideas. Was I good at executing those ideas?
Mhm.
Not good at thinking about details, not good at thinking about the little things that are also important but don't seem to register high on my list.
Mhm.
Um, and so if you have that skill set, you may discount it as, well, everybody does this.
Mhm.
Everybody does not do this, at least does not do it well. And so the stress relief of being able to like send a message yesterday and say, Jen, can you book travel for this date, and this date in these three cities? Yep, no problem. And I know it's done and it's done well is like worth its weight in gold because I would A, spend hours doing it, B, maybe book myself in the wrong hotel on the wrong day. Like it's not my skill set.
I love that as a thing because as someone who works with many of those entrepreneurs, I can say it's not just you, it's many people. But that's why I think it's so important when you choose to bring in support to have at least a little bit of awareness of what you need or what are the gaps you want to fill or to your point, what are the things I wish I could be doing? I just can't because it's not just merely let me take stuff off your plate. It's what would you like to have happen that's just not happening. Business
Yes.
development is often going to be one of those for solopreneurs or people with very little support because they are I got to sell, I got to deliver, and while I'm delivering the thing that I was paid for, I can't go find more people to pay me. So I love that as a
Yes.
concept. So when you think about this kind of from that 30,000-foot view, what is the most important factor when you're deciding who or when to bring someone in? Is it finding someone with skills you don't have? Is it finding someone that you can like jam with? Like what is that X factor?
Yeah, I mean, both of those things are important, but I think certainly for me, it was hire my weaknesses, right? So, like, what are the things that I don't do well? Let me find somebody who naturally does those things well, who enjoys it. Like, the concept to me that there are people out there that enjoy mapping out an SOP is like, really? People like to do that? But Jen loves to do that. And I can just say, okay, here's the gist of what we need to do. Can you figure out a process and document it for us so that we can repeat it? Yeah, done, boom. And again, it takes her a little time and it's perfect because that's what she's really good at. And it does. She happens to be someone that I get along with really well, and I think obviously, if you were really clashing, that would be a problem. But for me, it's mostly about filling the skill gaps that I don't have.
I love that. So you've obviously found someone who's really working for you right now, and that's great. So when you think back to the various times you've kind of put a flag out and said, "Hi, I would like someone, please," and I'm sure you were looking at just like a vast array of people who were interested. But when you say look at either a bunch of applications or a bunch of people who have raised their hands or people who have sent you referrals, what attracts you specifically to say one potential person versus another? Like what causes someone to stand out to you to be like, oh, they are worth a conversation?
Good question. I think um, just proactivity. So something as simple as response time. Some people were really late getting back to me, and I just thought, well, one of the things I'm going to have you do is respond to clients, and I want you to respond to clients quickly, so that's not a good sign. So there's some like just basic business things, but beyond that, it's someone who is proactive. So I had a list of things. Can you do this, this, and this for me? Yes. Would you also like me to do this, this, and this for you? She said, and I went, yeah, like I hadn't even thought of
Ooh.
that. So like if
Mm-hmm.
you have an ability by asking some questions or doing some research to suggest things that you could take off of that person's plate, that's going to be um, that's going to separate you from a lot of other people, right? Because most people are just going to say,
Mm-hmm.
okay, what's the job description? What do you want me to do? That person may or may not know, or may not identify all of the things that you could be doing for them. That would be so. When I started working with Jen, I think we were doing 5 hours a week. She's up to 10. She got up to 10 very quickly because she started to think of other things she could do for me, and I went, yeah, 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 that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
And she'll be doing more very soon. Because as I said to you in the pre-call, she makes me money. So that's the other thing. I think if you're doing your job well and you're working for a business, then either through efficiency or because you're helping to make more sales, however you measure it, you're going to be a net positive on their business. You shouldn't be a cost. You should be
Mm-hmm.
an investment that is paying back more than you're earning. And then it becomes really easy to invest more in you, right? Because it's like, oh, I literally at this point I know if I invest this much, I'm going to get that plus some back. Makes it really easy to put in more time.
Mm-hmm. And I think that's such a great awareness too, because oftentimes, like me being an operations strategist, people will say, well, I want to focus on my sales and marketing first, because then I'll make more money and I'll worry about operations and back end systems later. Well, the challenge is if you have a really great sales and marketing, but you don't deliver, you're essentially a Ponzi scheme because you're all talk, no
Right.
chaff.
Right.
And if all you focus on is the back end systems and nothing on sales and marketing, then you are bankrupt and you can't pay people anyway. But if we can
Yes.
begin to look at strong operational people not as a cost center, but as a benefit center that can either literally bring in revenue for you by performing revenue generating activities or taking all of that stuff off your plate so that you can go generate revenue.
Yeah.
This is a great situation for everybody to be in because then me as a support person, I get paid. And two, you make money to keep paying me and then invest in more things. So
Yeah.
we all just get a happy
Absolutely.
feeling from this.
Yeah. Absolutely. I think the other thing that my VA was really good at from the beginning was being clear about what she wasn't good at as well. So for me to say, oh, like I thought, oh, well, maybe you can make some outbound sales calls. And she said, well, I could, but that's not my strong suit. That's probably you're going to be better at doing that than I am. So if I can take things off of your plate so you have more time to do that, then great. And we had a discussion and we decided we could create a template that she could send out to do some prospecting. And then once they got to the next level of the sales funnel where they're ready for a conversation, I pick up the phone and close the sale. So she's still doing some prospecting, but she's not actively outbound stuff. And if that's your skill set, awesome. But she was really clear about like you don't you don't want me trying to solve that problem for you because that's not where my skills are.
Oh, I love that. And I think that's such a beautiful tee up into the final question of as a speaker, as someone who that is literally their business, what is the best piece of advice you have for VAs, OBMs, or other digital support people who are looking to work with clients like you?
Oh, wow, great question. I mean, whatever you can do to understand the uniqueness of that business. So go to speaker websites, call or email speakers and say, like, can you spend 20 minutes and tell me what your business? Tell me what a day in the life looks like. As soon as a prospective client of yours, in other words, somebody like me, hears you speak our language and not just you're another business owner, because it is a very different business from others,
Mhm.
it instantly gives me confidence, right? To go, oh, you get me, you're going to be able to work in this environment, and so therefore I trust you more, all of that stuff. So anything you can do that uh, lets the person know that you at least you have to know the business inside out until you get in it, but if you've at least made the effort to learn a little, it's going to go a long way.
Ooh, it's almost like when you help people feel seen, heard, and understood, the connection is that much easier to make.
I would say at least once a week I send a text to Jen just saying, just in case I haven't told you lately, you're awesome. Because she is always like thinking of something that I haven't thought of. Like, did you remember to do this? Oh, here's this thing that you were supposed to do. Did you do it? Like these little things that, yeah, she saves my butt all the time. So
She
worth the
just
weight in
takes
gold.
really good care of you and gives you
Yeah,
such peace
yeah.
of mind, I think. And ultimately, those two things, you can't really put a price on them.
No, I mean, if you as an entrepreneur, business owner, you have so many things on your mind all the time that if someone can come and take five of them off of your mind, it's worth a lot.
Amazing. Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
yeah.
Mark. I totally appreciate this. And I'm
Thanks.
sure everybody appreciated the insight into what does being a speaker even mean?
Thanks, Nikki.
Thank you.